Here we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Sorry about the technical problems. We're running about 15 minutes behind schedule. I am here, Miller Time Monday, with orthodontist Mart McClellan. And just a little background, I've known Mart for about 5 years. We met through a Facebook marketing group. Um, and just so we have full disclosure, Mart is a orthodontist, but he's also a principal in macro wealth management. And just so we have full disclosure, I am not here to help him solicit new business, and he knows that's not my intention. My intention today is for him to educate us on cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and just the safety of those investment instruments in today's world. So I'm just going to give you the floor and educate us, Mart.
Well, thanks, Bob. I really appreciate the invitation. I never really thought that Miller time would be over lunch hour. Usually Miller time should be over like a happy hour on a Friday, maybe, right?
Well, it just rhymed with Monday. So that was Brian Anderson's genius.
No, it's fantastic. It's probably the best name of a podcast I can think of.
Yeah.
So to give people a little feedback on cryptocurrencies and the blockchain itself, this is very, very new technology. And it came to being probably about 2009. And I've been involved with this probably since about 2014. And when I started getting involved with this, people thought I was crazy. People were laughing at me and saying, what are you doing? Investing in Bitcoin. And, those things, tends to be very problematic when you make the investment, you drop in some money into a Bitcoin and it goes down 80% like in a month. And so you feel like an idiot and everybody's, saying that I told you so. But here we are 5, 6, 7 years later, and Bitcoin's been the best performing asset in the last 10 years, 8 of the last 10 years. And it's just booming right now. It's all-time highs right now. Ethereum's all-time highs right now. So it's a space that everybody on this call should certainly look into. And really the reason you should ask yourself is why you should look into it is because it's just not about Bitcoin itself. It's about the blockchain technology. This type of technology is going to really change the way the world looks at many different things: personal finance, our social media, big data. All those things are going to totally change as we move forward. Back in the 90s, remember the internet came on board. It was very exciting. People fully engaged. We call it Internet 1.0, where people had emails and websites, and everybody was very excited to sort of learn about that. And then we moved into the next decade, and then we call it Internet 2.0, where that's where the big social media platforms came in: LinkedIn, Facebook, Google Maps, all these Instagrams, all these different platforms. And they're just gathering all of our data and into their platforms where they could actually sort of follow us along. And so we're losing a little bit of our safety and our security. And then along came the next, what we call Internet 3.0 or Technology 3.0, which is the blockchain. And the blockchain is nothing more than our ability to reclaim our data. So we'll have much more security behind everything we do. People won't be able to track us and do what do things that we don't want them to have happen to us. And people ask, what is the blockchain? It's nothing more than what we call a distributed ledger, which is like nothing more than some Excel spreadsheets put side by side by side. And what it does is it provides security, transparency, as well as decentralization. And so that is the key to this whole technology, is that it allows us to do things that we're not able to do with a whole lot more security, and people can't hack into it and change it. It's a very secure network. And so the Bitcoin was the first piece of technology that was built on the blockchain. And now there are there's thousands of different tokens and coins to invest in when it comes to blockchain technology.
So one of the things I would like you to comment on, everyone's heard of Bitcoin, and I'd say most people have heard of Ethereum. Talk to us about some of these altcoins or these alternatives that are, much less, probably more volatile, but easier to get into in terms of cost.
Yeah, there are thousands of those coins, and they're called altcoins. Of those thousands, most of them are not that good, and they're called shitcoins. Excuse my language. And so you have to be very careful about how you engage those different altcoins. But a lot of those altcoins, they're really formed to do certain things, such as even the browser I'm using today, called the Brave browser. It's a very secure internet browser. It's like your Firefox, your Safari, Internet Explorer, but it's run through the blockchain, and it doesn't allow people to follow you along. So that's maybe one of those altcoins that people can invest in. Even if you use that browser, they give you coins to use the browser, and so that's just one of the ways of using the blockchain altcoins. There are things like supply chains where they can actually manage where everything comes from all over the world, whether it's airplane parts, food, all kinds of shipping products, and where the blockchain enables them to sort of track it so they don't lose. If there's an issue with health and there's a pandemic or something, they can actually track where maybe the bad lettuce came from or whatever. So there's supply chains, and probably the biggest thing right now that's really come to the forefront and why this industry is just booming is because of DeFi. It's called decentralized finance, where they're sort of taking the power out of Wall Street, and people are able to do this decentralized finance through whether you're getting a mortgage or investing in the market or doing whatever you want to do to sort of get around the powers that be. Because one of the powers of blockchain is that you're able to communicate peer-to-peer, which is different than going through the centralized systems of our banking system. And so decentralized finance, and if you do any looking into these coins, you'll see that these coins such as Uniswap, Compound, Aave, they are just blowing off the charts right now.
Yeah. So one of the alts that I'm invested in is Digibyte through a company called Humble, and Aave also. Where do you see these small chain block technologies helping us in the future? And then with that question, if for someone who's never been involved in this type of investing, where would one start?
Yeah, two good questions. I'm a big fan of both those. Digibyte is very similar to Bitcoin in and of itself. It's a security coin, and it just came into the altcoin space a little bit later than Bitcoin. So it's a great coin. Aave is a decentralized coin, and really where this is going to help us is that it allows us to make transactions between different entities at lower fees. So I do believe in even our orthodontic practices someday. I'm convinced of this, that we will be accepting Bitcoin or some form of altcoin, whether it's Digibyte or another one of these coins out there, that will enable us to transact with our patients and customers in a way that we won't be paying maybe the large credit card fees that we're paying now and so forth and so on. So we'll be able to save quite a bit of money just in one use case of that. Now, really the onboarding for people who want to get involved with Bitcoin and the blockchain really starts with moving money from your bank account to one of these exchanges. It's called a fiat exchange, and there are a number of them. The most famous being Coinbase. There's Gemini, and there's others called Kraken. I prefer Coinbase myself. That's the one I use personally. And once the money's moved into that from your bank account, and there's some steps you have to do in order to set up an account. You need to do some know your customer KYC, and there's some anti-money laundering things also are typically looked into. But once the money gets onto that platform, then you can purchase Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a number of other altcoins that are on the Coinbase platform. If people have an interest in getting some of the smaller coins, like we're talking about, maybe the Digibytes and others, then you have to move those funds or those coins over to another exchange called a crypto exchange. And so you'd move your Bitcoin from Coinbase over to an exchange such as Binance US or KuCoin or Bittrex, or a number of other ones where you can actually find the coins that you have an interest in purchasing, and then you would purchase that with Bitcoin. It's kind of a trading platform to do that. So there are some steps in there, and since it is very, very specific in terms of how the money moves, you have to be very careful how the money moves over to each exchange, because There is no customer service. If you lose the numbers and the letters of each of those codes for the blockchain, that money is gone forever. So you have to be very, very careful of how those funds are transferred.
Yeah, the term copy and paste has a greater meaning.
Yeah. Copy and paste can be very costly if you don't copy and paste correctly. It's and I've done it. I've lost some money because of the funds being sent to the wrong place, and it's not fun. Unfortunately, not a lot, but it's just, you just have to be very, very aware that even if you copy and paste it, and you can copy and paste it correctly, but if you send it to the wrong place where it's supposed to go, then it's gone. So it's you have to be careful.
Okay, so Mart, one final question. Most of the members of Ortho Pearls are younger. You and I probably have 20, 30 years on the typical Ortho Pearler. Think back when we were right out of our residency, the furthest thing we were thinking about was investing in retirement. Give us a nugget, some information on where one should start just with their basic retirement, and let's kind of wrap it up with that.
Yeah. So the absolute most important thing you can do is save money, and you've heard it time and time again. And we say to all the people we work, if you never save money, you always have to work. So savings means freedom, and freedom in savings gives you the opportunity to make the choices that you want to make in the future. And so you need to start setting aside money as fast as possible. And first of all, we say set up to a liquidity account so that you can actually move money. And then we talk about retirement plans. And then we'll talk about other things like outside investments like crypto. And really, the sooner you get on that plane or that trajectory, you've heard about the compounding of money and some of the benefits of that. There's significant benefits. Even 5 or 10 years can make a tremendous difference, because in the compound interest growth curve, the majority of your growth on the back end, not the front end. So you need to make sure that the earlier you get it in, the more it can get big on that back end. And unfortunately, in the orthodontic world, we've all grown up on tons of student loan debt. We want to start a practice. We want to, buy a house, start a family. All these things get in the way of savings. And so you really need to get on that course as hard as that may be.
One of the terms I learned early on with one of the first financial advisors I had is the term lock in your lifestyle early. Don't
I love that.
Go crazy buying stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That's really good advice. Some people go out and overextend themselves in a house or a mortgage right out of the gate, and it puts a lot of pressure on other things in your financial life. Absolutely. So yeah, living in that lifestyle is tremendous, or cars for that matter. Used cars, new cars, whatever. Yeah.
Well, Mart, I've always enjoyed talking to you. We've been talking more recently because I have a 401g account, and I don't recommend. You have to have a certain stomach to invest in some of the things I've invested in, and it's worked out well for me. But with the 401g, and by the way, we have a 401k, and that's managed not by Mart, by the way, but it is managed very conservative. But I also have a 401g account that has done quite well recently because of these things that Mart's been talking about. But I really appreciate your time. I know you've got patients, as do I. I've got a patient in the chair right now. This is a live Facebook podcast that will permanently be on Facebook. So if you watch it at any time, feel free to post a comment. And Art, you're a member of this group. You can see it, and feel free. You can answer, and I'll try to do the same. So with that, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing some of the comments, because usually the comments flow in throughout the day.
Awesome. It's my pleasure, Bob.
All right, man. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day. Cheers.
Okay. Bye-bye.